I've got a new 48 channel mixer now, so I've decommissioned the old AWA broadcast mixer. These are very popular with radio stations around Australia from the 70s, 80s and even the 90s. Some stations use them. It's pretty simple design, nice big VU meters so you can see them from across the room. It's only got two channels, a main channel for on air, and channel 2 would have to be the Q channel here. Channel 2 comes up on that meter, channel 1 on that meter. And if you're doing a program, your microphone, records or landlines or whatever would be going on channel 1 out to air, and you want to cue something up before you put it to air, you'd have to use channel 2. A lot of mixers did have a separate Q channel, so you could listen on headphones or the Q speaker without having to use channel 2. Some even had it so when you turned the main fader or fader down to 0, it would go into the Q channel. A very useful situation, but these you had to use channel 2. Quite often it's very useful to have channel 2 available because your main program will be on channel 1, and if you wanted to record something offline or whatever, you could use channel 2 and that would go to your tape recorders, so you could record maybe a sporting event to play back later, or maybe the network station was sending down some ads or some promotional material. You could record that on channel 2 on a tape recorder, play it back later, or put it onto cartridges or edit it down for later replay. So very useful having channel 2. You can use a mixer for production while you're actually on air. But this one didn't have it. And but you had to just put up with it, and if you want to record something online you have to patch directly into the patch panel to your tape recorder. Not quite as versatile. These switches here would be for talkback, not telephone talkback, but going down the line to queue up like an intercom system, which would come back through the speaker. And monitoring down here for different listen off air or offline or off other sources you might want to do. So yeah, quite a nice versatile thing, designed for commercial radio, particularly maybe the smaller country stations, but a lot of city stations use them as well. Not so much a production desk, but an online on-air desk. Probably used, about 18 hours a day in a lot of places.
Sam, while I get this record ready, I'll cue it up so that we can... I'm going to cue it up. That means... Now, can you hear that coming out the little speaker there, Sam?
Yeah.
Now, that's not going on the radio. That's just coming out the little speaker so I can hear it, right? So I wind it back.
Hey,
And get it at the beginning.
that'll break the record.
No, it doesn't hurt it because it's designed to do that, and that other record's just finished. Can we cut the... Right, that's queued up, Sam, so I'll just back announce this one. And,
What do you mean with back?
Mate, hang on. 1263 SR, that's in excess on a Sunday afternoon. It's 25 past 12. Back announcing.
What did you call back announcing? That's too funny.
No, it does a little, but back announcing is when a record's finished. It's just a term we use to say we'll come on and say who the record was, who it was by, what the record was. It's called back announcing.
See, Blakey. See what we're doing. Talk this one.
Nice, easy to read 1960s transistorized circuits, although the wiring diagram is a bit complex. All the connections are through these screw connectors. It makes it very awkward and complex to wire up. The screws are very small, so you need a really fine screwdriver to do the job. The power supply section, there's some special quiet relays for the microphone muting circuits. There's the 10-watt monitor amplifier, germanium transistors like the rest of this thing, and it actually sounds very nice. Lots of transformers in the device. Microphone preamps, they can also be reconfigured for magnetic pickups. The 2 line amplifiers, one for Q, one for line, but they're the same and can be interchanged. In fact, there's an emergency switch that you could swap them over in case one popped. For a fairly simple design, they're actually quite complex, all the wiring and stuff. As you can see, it's quite messy. All the switching is done with complex PMG keys. But one advantage is the faders are just ordinary garden variety 1K pots, so they're easy to replace if they get noisy, which they never really did, and they don't cost very much. These telecom keys, or really the Kellogg keys designed about 100 years ago, they have a problem of if they're mounted this way horizontally, the pins fall out and they go sprung, and you've got to build the switch again, which is a real pain. It might be nice using retro equipment, but it really did have a lack of facilities, so we had to back it up with another small, more versatile mixer. And of course there's computers everywhere now and lots of inputs. There's the old mixer, thrown out, not loved anymore. It might be interesting to look at some of the mixers I've used in these studios for the last several decades. Well, this was just a mess. There's a Trimax mixer in behind the junk somewhere there. There are a few versions that weren't photographed or filmed, but this is an ABC style high level mixer with Trimax faders, all line level. I used that for a few years. And this is the same desk used at 3LO in the 1940s. Moving on to a Chiltern mixer, was fairly worn out when I got it. Had a lot of problems and was quite hard to maintain, so we actually went from that to the BAC1.
Seeing that our time is up, thank you for coming on.
What is the real impact of that on journalistic practices and so forth? The argument is always that it must have a chilling effect.
Online at the RN website.
The Prime Minister calls on Australia to get behind a $6.5 billion plan.
Well, no wonder it was worn out, because this is it being used at 3LO. It was used about 20 hours a day for 15 years.
There are performance measures, and you can't just isolate any one of those three items by themselves.
I think it was classified by the National Trust a few years ago, maybe it was 89, was it?
The ensemble Gervasio played Harmony on Littleton Street by Michelle Nelson.
And this is the new installation.
Recorded in Cologne, and at 11:15 off to Ireland for a concert recorded at the West Cork Chamber Music Festival by the Jupiter Quartet. Inspired by a good concert, good cheer, she said, in the beautiful location of Castlemaine.
Lots of group faders and plenty of auxiliary sends and equalisers and things. We should have enough facilities for a while, I should think. And of course it's important to have proper VU meters, even though they stick occasionally.